Hi guys, how you all doing? Welcome back to the channel. I've got some exclusive training footage. I was inside the training ground today watching Eddie Howe and his players prepare for the trip to Liverpool, so I've got some footage coming very soon on that, and also some news on Yuan Wissa, which if you've not seen it already should be interesting to you guys. Before I get into that, if you're new to the channel, please do subscribe, leave your comments below, give us a thumbs up, all that jazz. And let's get into it. So firstly, before I get into the exclusive video footage from today from the training session, for those of you who haven't seen it, Newcastle have made a bid today for Yuan Wissa, a second bid for the Congolese striker. That bid was made this morning, £35 million up front plus a potential £5 million in add-ons. It's Newcastle's second offer. You may remember last month they bid around £25 million for Yuan Wissa. That was turned down. Newcastle made that bid today after getting back to the table and renegotiating. And that bid has been rejected. So second offer from Newcastle on the table for Wissa, turned down again by Brentford. Look, I know there's a lot out there, people saying that Brentford looking for 60 million. That's not the information I hear, but it sounds as though 35 plus 5 isn't going to be enough. Maybe Newcastle need to offer another 5 million, maybe like 40 plus 5, that might get the deal done. But you know, it's getting very frustrating for you guys, I know, because you want to get a striker in, you've got all the Isak situation hanging over the club like a cloud, which I'll get onto in a moment. But Wissa is the essentially the Callum Wilson replacement. He's the backup striker, so to speak, and you can't get that one out. Can't get that deal over the line. So look, Brentford really digging their heels in, making it hard for Newcastle. I suppose like they're well within their rights to do, but look, the player's made it clear he wants to play here. There's been interest in him from other clubs, Spurs. There's also been interest from Nottingham Forest with 2 offers, and I even was told by one source that Liverpool came to the table recently as well, or made that explorative inquiry over him. But look, he's made it clear it's Newcastle he wants to play for. That's his number one choice. He wants to play Champions League football. Newcastle know they need to get a deal done. Look, I think Brentford know Newcastle need to get a deal done, and that's probably why they can hang out for more money and they're not going to take the first offer. So look, there we have it. Today, this afternoon, we sat here just now, 4 o'clock. Newcastle have made that second offer to Brentford for Yuan Wissa. I'm fed up talking about it myself. 35 plus 5 million pounds in add-ons, and within a couple of hours, flatly turned down by Brentford. And Newcastle need to go back to the drawing board and find out if they want to offer more. But yeah, not good news, especially with Isak's situation, because the longer this drags on, the less chance there is of Isak going. I mean, it sounds pretty much like it's almost a closed door anyway, from what Newcastle were saying last night in their statement. But I still think there's a small chance of him going if Newcastle were able to meet their conditions. If they were to get 2 replacements in, or at the very least get 1 replacement in Wissa and allied with a massive bid from Liverpool. But neither of those are happening at the moment, which means it looks like Isak's probably going to stay. So that's the news on Yuan Wissa. By the time you watch this, it could have changed. I've just had to update my video from what I'd said in my last destination, but I've driven for 20 minutes. That offer's been rejected. So look, things are changing, plates are spinning, and things are changing by the minute. Firstly, I was up at the training ground today, doing some lives here just outside the training ground, but I was also in behind the scenes as well, having a look at preparations, watching on training, grabbed a quick word with Eddie Howe and some of the backroom staff, and also a couple of the players. I have to say, it was relaxed, it was calm, it was fairly jovial. The players looked like they were enjoying training, and all the new signings were there. Malik Chow, of course, was there, Jacob Ramsey, Aaron Ramsdale, the new goalkeeper, trying to remember all the signings now, Anthony Elanga, all there. Obviously no sign of Wissa yet, but the hope, I think, would be to try and get him in before the Liverpool game. And look, if they do, there's a good chance he'll come in and actually start that match at centre forward. So yeah, all the players there are going through their paces. it's essentially day one. They've had a couple of days off, and the players in, what's today, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 5 days of training before the Liverpool game on Monday night. It's been quite a good break and a chance for the players to sort of reflect on the Aston Villa game, just have a couple of days off and just sort of get back into a sort of routine, having been pre-season training where it was just a bit all over the place. Now, I was doing a live there just a moment ago, and Alexander Isak arrived bang on 3 o'clock to train on his own, so reporting as he has been to go through his own training regime. As we know, he's training away from his first team squad. He comes in once the rest of them are away. Now obviously the manager Eddie Howe is still inside, but Alexander Isak doing his own thing. So he arrived at 3 o'clock today. On Isak, I'm sure you're aware, it's been top story all day. I've been doing live after live here at the training ground. But Newcastle were made aware last night of a social media post by Alexander Isak, basically saying that there'd been some he'd lost trust, shall we say, because he was unhappy that Newcastle had stuck to promises, had failed to stick to promises that they'd made. He didn't say what about. My understanding of that is a new contract, and just saying, look, it's better if both parties part ways now and I move on for a fresh challenge. So it was really strong, damning stuff from Alexander Isak last night. Came out 8 o'clock at night. Newcastle then about 3 hours later put a statement of their own out where they essentially said that, look, we've tried to facilitate this. No one individual is bigger than the club, and when they say they've tried to facilitate it, what they mean is they've tried to bring in replacements this window. As you know, they got so close to signing Ugo Ekitike until Liverpool inexplicably came in and took him off of them, perhaps worried that Newcastle weren't going to allow Isak to leave, so they came in and took Ekitike when Newcastle were all but agreed with Eintracht Frankfurt. And then Benjamin Sesko as well. So they've came close to replacing him twice. Had they signed one of those two players, I'm pretty confident that Alexander Isak would be on his way to Liverpool or a Liverpool player by now. But of course, they failed with both of those. I think the options are becoming really, really thin on the ground, if anyone at all available. And I think that's what Newcastle were trying to say in their own statement yesterday. They were saying, look, we've tried to facilitate this, we've tried to explore options, but the conditions of an Alexander Isak departure from the club have not been met. And one condition is they get a ready-made replacement. They tried Sesko, they tried Ekitike, they tried Delap, they tried João Pedro, and they failed on all those fronts so far, and there's not really anyone available, I don't think, and because they then say that they are unlikely to meet those conditions between now and the end of the window. And then the second thing is Liverpool need to make an offer that Newcastle can't refuse, and of course Newcastle have got a £150 million price tag round their head, while I think a deal would probably be struck for a little bit less than that. Like, I think if Liverpool came in and offered 135 million, I think Newcastle would have a decision to make if they had a replacement in. So although they're saying 150, I think it probably could be a little bit less than that. But we've got to remember their offer has been nowhere near that. £110 million plus a little bit of add-ons, I think, taking it up to maybe about 117, 118 total. So they've not come close to Newcastle's offer. So until they offer that, and until Newcastle get a replacement, it's not happening. And that's what they were saying. They were saying that, basically trying to say last night, they've tried their best. It's not that he's not for sale. Look, he's not for sale because they don't want to sell him, but it's not like he was never going to go this window. He was going to go if Newcastle had got Sesko or Ekitike or João Pedro, but they've not. They've been unable to bring in those high-level strikers, and as a result of that, why hamstring themselves by losing Alexander Isak? Like, why do that? Leaving themselves with no strikers at the moment, and if you get Wissa and just one striker, which you can't do that ahead of a Champions League game group, with 8 group games to go, 8 group games to play, so much on the table, so many stressful moments and big games, it would just be self-sabotage. Now, what I've noticed from you guys in your comments to the Newcastle statement is that you seem to be happy with the club's stance, and you're glad they've said something, and you feel like they've taken the power back into their hands, and it's something that's pleased you. So that's been good to see. So in some ways it's been quite good that we've had a little bit of clarity from this. We've had some words from Newcastle as a club off the back of this, because obviously it had been deathly silent up until now, up until this point. But yeah, it's felt that you guys are happy with the communication. And look, the message I'm getting from the club is that they're quite calm on the situation. They're pretty relaxed, they're chilled. They know they've got Isak on a 3-year contract. They know that they've still got the power in their hands. The question will be is, once the window closes and if he's still a Newcastle player, will they be able to reintegrate him into the team as they suggest in their statement? Will Isak be up for that? Will he accept it? It feels like a lot of water is under the bridge now. A lot of bridges have been burned. A lot of, fans are angry, aren't they? Although I just saw Isak arriving for training at the moment. He got cheered in there by the fans who were here. Would that be different on a match day at St James's Park? Probably. But they're pretty calm about the situation. Will Isak play again? That's the thing. I just can't see Isak at 26 years old missing out a crucial year of his career. Like this is why would you? It's a short career anyway. Why would you give up a full year and not playing down tools and sit with the reserves? It doesn't bear thinking about. But then at the same time, if he carries on like this, and it felt like such a seismic moment last night in what he said, why say all that if you think there's a chance you could stay? I just think all in this, all along, like, you've got 3 years left in your deal, you earn a huge amount of money. I know you don't earn as much as you want, but I don't earn as much as I want, to be honest with you. I want to be earning more money, but I can't very well go and say, oh, that reporter's getting more than me, I should be on that too. It doesn't work like that. I just think, read the room, see what's going on in the world. People are struggling to put food on the table. There's wars all over the place. And I know it's a short career, but you're wanting £300,000 a week and you already earn 150 plus bonuses. Like, come on. I just think there's a way of going about things, and I just think to down tools at a club where you're an absolute legend, it's just been really, really poor on Isak's front, and I think it's conduct that he will eventually end up. I think he'll look back on it and he'll regret it in years to come. So it's been a real sorry state. But I do feel the statement he made last night has actually now made it harder for him to go, because Newcastle feels like they've doubled down now and they're going to try and make him stay even more. So the only way he'll go is if 2 players arrive and a huge offer comes in. I think if Wissa arrives and a huge offer comes in, there may be a decision to make. There may be. But if Wissa arrives and there's not a huge offer from Liverpool, then he stays. If Wissa doesn't arrive, then he stays. So it feels very much like now, I would say 80-20 on him staying here next season. When he plays, how long is a piece of string? Anyway, so that's my update today. Sorry I've been talking about fast, lots to talk about. Hopefully you enjoyed those training pictures earlier. Isak arrived 3 o'clock today. Bid's gone in for Wissa, 35 plus 5. We wait on that outcome. You might have an answer by the time you're watching this. And just another day at the office. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Speak soon. Bye bye.